Have you ever thought, I would love to write a book? Well, this conversation today is for you. My guest is Michael Delon. He is the founder of paperbackexpert.com. He helps financial advisors grow their businesses by creating a book without writing a word. Well, welcome, Michael. Thank you so much for joining us.
You are welcome, Dr. Vic. Thanks for having me. It's quite an honor, and it's going to be really fun because, well, you have as much energy as I have. So this is going to be great.
All right. So, can you tell us a bit about yourself? What is it that you do? How do you add value to the world?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I tell you what, if you've got 3 minutes, I'll tell you my whole story, and
Yes.
you'll understand who I am, what I do, and why I do it, okay?
Yes.
All right, so first of all, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I have been married for 35 years to my dear wife, Jill. And we've got 4 children. 2 of them are biological, 2 are adopted through foster care. When Jill and I got married in 1990, the first 5 years of our marriage were like this. Okay, we fought in things because we're complete opposites. And even though she and I both grew up in church, nobody ever taught us how to be married. And so after 5 years of conflict, we decided to go to it was called a Weekend to Remember marriage conference by a ministry called Family Life. So we went to this conference ballroom in a hotel in Indianapolis, Indiana for a weekend with 1,000 other couples. And we walked out with God's blueprints for marriage. I didn't know he had blueprints. And so we grabbed his blueprints and we started working on our marriage, and our marriage got better through the 90s. Okay. In the 90s, we had 2 kids, and I was working for Christian radio in marketing and sales. And that's where I learned how to do marketing for small business owners. So at the end of the 90s, God led us out of that to a startup.com back in the day when Amazon was just getting started. Do you remember those days? There was no Amazon at one time, right? So I went to work for my friends who were starting this company, and they were going to change the internet. Well, 2 years later, they were bankrupt. And so I was standing in my living room looking up at the ceiling going, all right, God, what am I doing now? And he spoke to my heart, Vicki, and he says, I want you in a ministry to marriages, and I want you at Family Life, the marriage that, the ministry that changed our life. I said, okay. So we had to go raise our own financial support. So that took us 2 years. Then we moved from Indiana down to Little Rock, Arkansas. That was the world headquarters of Family Life. And I started working in the radio department, which was great. Worked my way up the ladder, and I was soon serving on the leadership team of this international ministry. Life was grand until they started going through corporate reorganizations. And after the 3rd reorganizational chart was rolled out, my name was no longer on the leadership team. And so I looked at that and I went, And so they started shuffling me around the ministry to do all kinds of things. And that began a 2-year, Vicki, what I call a prison term, because I was stuck in a job that I hated at a ministry I loved. So after 2 years, I finally got fed up and I sucked dry, and I said to my wife and to God, I said, I got to get out of this place. And God said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to help business owners with marketing because they really struggle with it. They hate it, but I love it. And he said, go. So on January 1st of 2013, I escaped from prison. I left the ministry. I started a marketing consulting firm, and I would call you Dr. Vicky. I'd say, hey, I can help you grow your business. You'd meet with me. We'd have a great conversation, and you'd say, Michael, this sounds good. Tell me, who else have you helped recently? What have you been doing? And I said, well, I've been helping build marriages and families at Family Life. And you'd say, Michael, that's honorable. Way to go. Look at the time. I do have another appointment coming in. Can we reschedule? And you'd usher me right out the door. You were not convinced I could help you do anything. You saw me as a ministry guy, not a marketing guy. Well, I couldn't find any clients, and so I knew I had to fix it. So I went to my church one day, Vicki. I was pacing the hallways back and forth going, God, how do I help Dr. Vicky? Because I know I can. And he spoke to my heart, and he said, put all your ideas in a book. So I did. So I wrote my first book. It's called On Marketing back in 2013. I would then call you, set an appointment. I'd mail a copy of my book to you, Vicki. I'd walk in a week later for our appointment, and there it was. My book was on your desk, dog-eared, highlighted, underlined. You'd read my book. And in that meeting, you'd say, now, Michael, in your book, you said, and you quote something I wrote, and you said, how do you help me do that? And you'd hire me. I started gaining clients, and I stopped. I said, wait a minute, what changed? The only thing, Vicki, that changed is the fact that I published a book, and that book changed how you thought of me. Because when you got my book, I instantly became an expert. And that's when I moved and pivoted to become a business growth-oriented book publisher for financial advisors and other business owners to help them create a book without writing a word, get it done in 6 months We make them an Amazon best-selling author, and then I teach them exactly how to use their book to gain more clients. And I back it up with a 2-year money-back guarantee. I've been doing this for 12 years now, and it works like a charm when you know how to use a book to build influence and credibility and trust. Whew. Okay.
Well, thanks for sharing the story. Just to make it a little more three-dimensional, could you tell us a story about one of your clients?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I want to go. I'm going to go over to my bookshelf. I got two stories, real quick. They're both short. One's an attorney, a personal injury attorney. He was David against two monster Goliaths. And forget that he's an attorney. This applies to everybody. But he came to me and says, Michael, I need to do something because I can't spend $100,000 a month like these other guys are doing or whatever. I said, okay, tell me your story. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you live where you live? Well, he went to Florida from the East Coast to on a baseball scholarship. He was going to be a pitcher in the major leagues. And in the second year, he threw out his arm and had to go through rehabilitation, surgery, all of that. Killed his career as a pitcher, killed his scholarship. So he pivoted, became a sheriff, then he became a personal injury attorney. And I said, William, have you ever told that story to anybody? He's like, no. I said, we're going to. So I took that little story and we created his book, When Life Throws You a Curveball.
Oh, love it.
Okay? Now when he walks on the morning show or whatever he does, he says, hey, if life's throwing you a curveball, I get it because it threw me a curveball. If you've been hurt and need a great settlement, let me help you get better and take care of your. Why don't you get a free copy of my book? You'll hear more about my story and how we can serve you. Changed everything. That's how David beats Goliath. And it came from his story that he wasn't sharing with people. Okay? Now understand, I didn't make this up. I discovered it through questioning. Every advisor that you work with has a story to tell that's just as compelling. They're just not telling it. And then Lynn, she's a financial advisor up in Canada. We created her book, Retire on Purpose. This was Lynn's second book, actually. She wrote one on her by herself, but she didn't know how to use it, so it wasn't doing any good for her. She came to us. We helped her create this. She didn't have a real direction or a theme for her book when she came to me. So I did my process, and I discovered that how she works with clients, she has a very distinct process in everything that she covers. And it actually, I made it create this retire acrostic. And so I gave her a name for the process that she's already using and created her book called Retire on Purpose. Lynn created this book. We made her a best-selling author. And then she says, all right, Michael, what do I do with this thing? My first book, I ain't doing anything. What? I said, Lynn, do you have a database of people? And she's like, well, yeah. How many people? She's like, 800. Okay, great. Send them an email. Subject line, don't buy my book. Copy. I want to give you a free copy of my Amazon best-selling book. If you're interested, let me know. I'll mail you a copy. It doesn't cost you a penny. She had 80 people respond to that email. She mailed out 80 copies of her book. Within 2 weeks, she started getting appointments. She ended up with over 12 clients from that one email that more than paid for her investment in the book. And she told me, Michael, the rest is gravy. So it's a very simple way. She had a lot of people who just weren't doing anything. They kind of had their head stuck in the sand. They'd been to a seminar. They'd watched her webinars. They just weren't doing anything. The book got them to move. And she's making money hand over fist right now. So those are two really fast stories. I could go on, but it's amazing the difference a book makes.
The process of birthing a book. Could you tell us a bit about that?
I can. That's honestly what stops most people is the process of how do I do it as Mount Everest. Our philosophy and the way we built our business is you can create a book without writing a word. And what I mean by that is I have a staff of 10 professional writers. Once I find and discover your message, then you're going to meet with one of my writers for about an hour a week on Zoom. And we're going to talk with you. We're going to interview you. We're going to ask questions, kind of like you and I are doing here. And we're going to build the outline of your book first, chapter by chapter, stories, bullet points, things you want to share. And once we have the outline created, then we take you through our speak to write process. Using that same writer is going to guide you through every chapter of your book, asking you questions. You're an expert at what you do. You can talk about this all day long. We just capture it all. And then once we're done, we craft your words into the pages of your book. So your book is filled with your words, your phrases, your philosophies. The book sounds like you. And that's really, really important to us and to your clients. Because when they read the book, they should hear you so that when they meet with you, you're going to say some of the same phrases that you said in the book. And they're going to go, this is the same person. There's consistency here. I can trust this person. They may never say it, but it's deep down in them.
And I just want to recognize your genius for being able to pull out that pearl of wisdom from what you're hearing. The two examples that you gave, brilliant. Well
Thank
done,
you.
Michael.
Well, thank you. And I'll tell you, I tell people all the time, I only do four things well in life, honestly. Everything else outside of these four things, I'm mediocre at. But finding and distilling that core message from a client of mine and connecting that's just a God-given gift that I'm wicked good at. So thank you for recognizing it, but it's just using the talents God's given me in a way that I'm an outside set of eyes, and it's like that is a really intriguing story. Most people think they're boring. They're not. You're way more exciting. So, but thank you. I appreciate that.
What are the other three things you do well?
So it spells the word calm, CALM. So communication is number one. That's part of what I do. Affirmation. I'm really good at affirming people and seeing their skills in the world. Leadership, and then marketing. Those are the four things that I do, as I say it, wicked well in the world today.
Well, I have to say, after we decided to have this conversation, I got on your list. The stuff that you send is magnificent.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Could you give us some general principles about how you would leverage the book in your marketing materials to support business success?
Oh, well, absolutely. Well, number one, it's got to be on your website. Our philosophy is free. Give your book away for free. And don't do the free plus shipping thing unless you're Russell Brunson and have the big back end. Give your book away. Let people read your book. Have a funnel. Obviously, they have to find it. They have to give you their email address. Now they're in your funnel. Now you're in my funnel. There's a welcome and wow sequence that should be built to deliver that ebook. Asking them, can I mail you a copy for free? All of this is to build your credibility and reduce their anxiety. Okay. And now, so let's say you have a book. Here's one written by Jason Dykin. He was a doctor who turned financial advisor for doctors. Okay. Get it right. So we would take Jason's book and we say, Jason, your book has 9 chapters in it. Why don't you write one email on every chapter of your book? And after they download it, now you have 9 emails before they drop into your nurture system. And oh, by the way, why don't you go a step further and link every email to either a podcast episode that you've done on that or to a short video like a Loom video or something? Because here's what's missing in most marketing today, in my opinion, Dr. Vicky, is the personal nature. I use a lot of video in all of my marketing, my emails, because I want you to get to know me before I ever meet with you. And so I teach my clients how to use video in their marketing funnels, in the emails that they send to prospects and clients, and it changes the game because people show up on my sales calls and my podcast already knowing me, already liking me, already trusting me. They still have some questions, but all that common ground is out of the way. So put your book on your website. Have an email funnel sequence, one email, one video per chapter. We have a series where we create a podcast for our clients as well, and we interview them on every chapter of the book. And so then we broadcast that out to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everything. And podcasting is a great way for people to get to know you and binge watch that. But one of my favorite strategies in using a book, Dr. Vicky, is taking a happy client. So let's say you're a financial advisor and you've just put together this marvelous plan. You've been working with this couple for a few weeks. They're happy. They're excited for the future. Dr. Vicky, you're my client. I'm the financial advisor. We say, Dr. Vicky, can I ask you a favor? Well, of course you're going to say yes, right? I say, you probably don't know this, But most of my clients don't come to me through all the advertising and everything you see us doing. They come through the recommendation and introduction of a trusted friend. It would mean a lot to me, Dr. Vicky, if you would take 3 or 4 copies of my book, and as you're talking with your friends in the next 3 or 4 weeks about how we've set up and structured your financial plan, if you would just take a copy of my book and say, well, here's the person that we work with and we trust, you should read their book. Would you do that for me, please? And everybody's going to say yes. And now what you're able to do is what we call cloning your best clients, because birds of a feather do flock together. And so you equip your clients with a phenomenal resource, who to say it to, a script to speak, and now they get to say, well, my guy wrote the book on retiring with, right? Those 3 or 4 little marketing things, I've got 18 of them that I talk to my clients about, but those 3 or 4 will do more to make your message more consistent, more compelling, and really put more cash in your pocket over time if you just do those simple little things. Marketing doesn't have to be as complex as most of us make it.
What kinds of transformations have you seen with your clients? Because I know that quite often when somebody writes a book, they see themselves differently. It's not just that other people see them differently, they see themselves differently.
100%. And I think the one word that I come to right now is confidence. And so many times I work with a client, and at the beginning they're timid. They know their stuff, but well, I don't want to put the spotlight on me. I don't want to. I don't, and I'm like, that's okay. I don't either. But what we want to do is elevate your expertise. And what happens is through the process of communicating with the writer. We had one financial advisor. He's working with one of my writers, and my writer said, I've never heard anybody explain it like that before. You are really good at explaining things. And the client just kind of bolstered up and said, oh, well, thank you. And it's that confidence in being able to say, I do know what I'm talking about. I didn't publish my book to boast. I did it as a resource. And when you can transition over that line of I don't I don't need your business. I want your business and I want to serve you. And as an expert, I'm here to give you the information and wait patiently for you to be ready. So, one of my marketing philosophies plays into all of this. I want to be the first person you think of and the one you feel the best about when you are ready to make a decision to work with me. And as a financial advisor, if you can position yourself that way with the confidence to wait, you're going to attract so many people because you won't be repelling them by saying, can we have an appointment this week? How about next week? Could we do it the week after? If you want to meet in February, that's great because I will be here to serve you then. It's the confidence of knowing what you do and having, like a Lynn, having that process in place gave her great confidence because everywhere she goes now, somebody says, Lynn, what do you do? I help Canadians retire on purpose.
Ooh, loving that.
Now, isn't that better than saying, well, I'm a financial advisor? Who cares? That's what we do, and that builds confidence, quiet confidence, if you would. So that's the biggest transition I see in most of my clients is the confidence level internally goes up, and then their business revenues go up also.
All right, let's just say we have conceptual agreement. A book is a great business builder.
Amen.
What are some of the biggest mistakes you see people make when it comes to birthing a book?
Yeah. Using Chat GPT, I'll just put it out there right now. Chat is good for lots of things, and we use it in our business. We do not use it for book writing. It is not ready yet. It might be someday. So that's number one. Don't let Chat write your book for you. Number two, make sure you're telling your story. And whether you're writing a book on a podcast or you're speaking somewhere, tell your story. Be engaged. Stories carry the day. People do not need more information about financial advising, about financial planning. I can find all I want on Google. What I need is a trusted resource, somebody I can connect with. Tell me about your family through the pages of your book. Let me know, are you married? Do you have dogs? Do you like fishing? Do you like skydiving? What do you like? Let me know that. Number two, one of the other biggest things, honestly, is writing a book. I tell people all the time, never write a book. And what I mean by that is if you sit down in front of a computer and you start typing your book, here's what's going to happen. You're going to type a sentence or two. You're going to have a typo, number one, and number two, you're going to stop and you're going to read that. And you're going, nah, that's not what I want to say. And you backspace, 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 or delete, and then you're going to edit yourself to death. Okay, how do I know? Because that's what I did at first. Here's the secret. Have a friend take you out to coffee. Take a friend out to coffee. Have some questions. Let them ask you questions and speak your book. Turn on a recorder on a laptop, on your phone, or whatever it is. They ask a question, you answer it. Now take that, get it transcribed. Now you have a very rough draft of your book. Now you can look and start making some changes. So never write a book. You should always speak to write a book, whether you use us or whether you use a friend or just Microsoft Word. Okay, that's probably the other thing because you get too stuck. And I just talked to a prospect today. First time I've ever met him. He'd watched all my videos. And I said, well, tell me what about a book interests you. He turns around in his chair, like you would go back to your bookshelf. He pulls out this big old, like 2-inch folder. And he says, I have notes going back to 2013. The book is called, and he gave me the name of the book. He's like, I've started it 3 times. I don't have time. I can't keep it going. I understand. That's why we do what we do. So you'll never have to say that again. So just, it's, how do I say it? Writing a book isn't rocket science, but there is a process that you really need to follow. And if you don't do this often, rare is the day that I find somebody who can actually write a great book on themselves. They're out there, but they're rare.
For those listening who might be new to this idea of book publication, could you just review some of the paths to publication and tell us where
Mm-hmm.
you fit in?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So we all know the traditional publishers, right? The Simons and Schusters, the Penguins, right? The ones who have John Grisham under their umbrella, the ones who write you $100,000 check before you ever write a word. Yeah, that's the traditional publisher. You're not going to get there. Okay, the business owner is not going to get there because that's not who they're looking for. Your book is not for the masses; it's for your audience. And so, to get signed with a Penguin or a Simons, who's a traditional publisher, don't waste your time. So that's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is what we call self-publishing. Okay, and there are all kinds of companies out there who can help guide you down the process of self-publishing if you want to invest time in doing it. Okay, it's just going to take time, and make sure you understand that there are a lot of programs that say we can help you write your book over the weekend. Yeah, but they don't talk about the editing and the proofreading and the design and there's so many other things. Self-publishing, you can absolutely do it. We fit in the middle. We call ourselves a hybrid publisher. We're between those two extremes. And what we do is we function very much like a traditional publisher, but we are a publishing house ourselves. So when your book is published, you have a publisher's indicia on the back of it. You have the credibility. You don't have to do all the work because if you show up and speak to my writer, your book, voila, is created. And then we actually give you a marketing system and a plan to know how to use your book to gain clients. And so we are smack dab in the middle of those, from a traditional on one end to a self-publisher on the other end. We stand in the middle as what we call a hybrid business growth publisher.
As an author myself, I just want to attest to the value of not just creating the book, but how to leverage the book as a tool.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. And, we remember the movie, who was it, Costner, If You Build It, They Will Come, the baseball
Yeah.
movie.
Yep. Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams. There it is. Field of Dreams. If you publish it, they will flock to your book. No, they won't. Have you looked on Amazon lately? Do you know how many books are on Amazon? Right. But a book positions you. Here's my question. If you're a financial advisor and you're in any city in America, it doesn't matter. How many of your competitors have published their own book? Normally, the answer is none. Great. Why don't you be the first? And what's going to happen is you're going to position yourself in the mind of that audience, in your community, as the person, as the resource. Now, if you take the next step and you make sure you're giving your book away, not selling it, you're giving it to every living, breathing soul that's in your target audience. And then you do a podcast on top of that. So now they can get your other media and maybe you'll show up on the morning show, right? It's all because you have a very clear message. So one of my clients, a financial advisor in Missouri, wrote 2 books with us. And this book is called Bulletproof. Okay, it's talking about how to create a great retirement plan. But in this book, he talks about when he had a brain tumor years ago. And he had a doctor who wasn't doing great stuff. He's like, I need a second opinion. And so he got a second opinion, and that opinion saved his life. And in his book, he talks about how you might need a second opinion on the way your financial plan is being created. I would love to give you a second opinion. And so he took the idea from being in the being around doctors, a life-threatening brain tumor. He needed a second opinion, but it's his book that is his call to action in everything that he does in marketing. And what it does is it positions him in the mind of his audience as an expert. Because every book that he writes, and he's written 2, I've got one client who's written 4, it just continues to reinforce that you know what you're doing in every one of these areas. So if you're talking about saving taxes or long-term care or beating inflation, you could write a book on every one of those. And your audience is going to go, this is the person I need to work with. Because it's obvious they're an expert. That's how books just really move the needle. It's what happens in the mind of your audience. If your here's my test, Dr. Vicky, for every financial advisor listening. As soon as we're done here, I want you to go and look at the website of your 5 competitors and compare that to your website. And my guess is they're all going to look and say the same. And you're going to be what I call Charlie Brown's teacher. Because they all sound alike and they all look alike. And it doesn't take much to create a book and put it on your website so when somebody hits your website or your LinkedIn or your Facebook, get a free copy of my book that tells you all about the intricacies of planning for retirement, paying for college, and making sure you'll never go broke. Something like that. I mean, it's not rocket science, but it's understanding how to leverage this in your marketing so that you can serve more people.
So you've got so much energy. What makes you feel inspired?
Oh, I love, gosh, what makes me feel inspired? Giving to the kingdom of God is my primary driver in life. Watching my children excel in life. So I've got 2 sons who are older and married. I have 1 granddaughter. I also have 2 teenage daughters. That all drives me. And at the same time, when I meet with a financial advisor who actually knows what they're talking about and is just struggling because marketing is so hard, and I discover that unique message that just positions them so differently, and it resonates not only with them, but with their ideal client. That fires me up because I'm on the front end and the back end of my process. Okay, I don't get involved in the book writing. I've got a team to do that. I'm involved in discovering that unique message and in helping you with the marketing. Those 2 things fire me up all day, every day. And I just know how impactful a book can be. This book on marketing changed my life and my business back in 2013. And I get the privilege of helping people like Lynn and William and Brad change their life, change their business, change the lives of those they serve. Because people are attracted to experts. And in our culture, experts have books. They just do. And so that's what fires me up is watching the growth. Here's my mission statement. I don't share this with very many people, but it just ties in here. My mission statement, I've had it for years. To facilitate growth in organizations and individuals. And right now, I'm fulfilling that mission through this podcast. I hope something that what I have said is going to help somebody grow. It's going to help you grow, and it's going to make a difference in somebody's life. So that's what fires me up, is staying true to my mission, and I get to do that 24 hours a day. When I'm not sleeping, I'm helping somebody grow in some way. That's what fires me up.
That's so, so inspiring. Don't
Mm,
we all
thank
want
you.
to evolve into the best versions of ourselves and the best version of our organization?
100%. Absolutely. And it's not hard to do. You just have to surround yourself with people like Dr. Vicky and that great bright smile that you have. But we have to be about something more than money. Money's great. Money's a great tool. That's all it is. What are you going to leverage it for, and what's the mission that you're going after that's so much bigger than you? You're going to be after it for a number of years. That's what focuses me. And I'll tell you, and this is not about books, okay? This is sales 101, but it's really sales 505, is learning to listen. I've taken a lot of communication courses in my life. I've done a lot of sales training, and most of it is focused on me talking. And about a year ago, I went through a process and got some understanding, and my eldest son really helped me to basically say, Daddy, shut up. I was talking way too much on sales calls. I was trying to show them all the stuff that I do, and what I've done is my sales calls now are two or three questions. Sounds like you're struggling with this. Sounds like this is what. Do I hear that right? What are you wanting to do? Are we a good fit? And I'm very relaxed. And I had a guy today say, "Yeah, this sounds really good, but we probably won't be able to talk until mid-January." Awesome, sounds great. Let's put something on the calendar because I'm listening for what is going on in their life. And I think you're so right. Doctors understand money is a tool. It's not the end game. It's something that will help them get to that end game. Could be legacy, could be another house, could be paying for college, could be who knows what it is. Why don't you ask and learn to listen? And I bet you're going to get a lot more clients that way. When you become known for being the author of, people start inviting you to be on podcasts, to speak at workshops, to keynote at their events. And now all those doctors are looking at you going, I really like what they said. How do I get, oh, here's a free copy of my book. And now they're in your funnel. It just works, but you need to have a great message. That's where it all starts for us.
Now, let me ask you, do you have any bandwidth? Like, are you accepting new clients?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The beautiful thing about our business model is we are very scalable in that. And I don't like that word. I'm getting tired of that word too, but I've got 10 writers on my staff. Every one of my writers can work on 3 to 5 books at a time because of our process. So I have writers are standing by. But wait, there's more. Yes. That's a great question. Yes, we have bandwidth. We take clients on every month to work with them. It takes us 6 months to get your book created. So this is a great time to begin. They are in a very competitive environment. They're excellent at what they do, but they're having trouble growing at the rate they want to grow. And they're needing to shorten their sales cycle, which is going to increase their client acquisition. If that's you, then that would be an ideal client for me because you're bringing to the table exactly what I need, the expertise, the story, and we'll bring to the table everything else to get your book created and teach you how to use it.
Sounds great. And I'd be happy to leave your contact information in
Mm,
the notes so people will know how to get in touch with you.
okay.
And I've asked you an awful lot of questions. Is there any question that I've forgotten to ask that I should be asking?
I think the one question at the very end is what's one of the biggest mistakes people make in creating a book, but also in marketing. But let's focus it around books. If you're going to do your book, whether it's with me or by yourself, and the answer to the biggest problem is I want you to be yourself. So many advisors that I talk with aren't themselves. When they show up, I can tell that there's a barrier between us. And if you're showing up that way for me, you're probably showing up that way for your prospects. And so if you can just there pop that balloon, be real, be genuine with people. Share with them what you do. I mean, do you like soccer? Do you like football? What do you like? I rarely see a bio, an about us page that has anything to do with personal stuff, maybe a sentence at the bottom. He lives near this town with his wife and 3 kids. Be yourself. Because the more you're yourself, the more you're going to connect with people. In our age of AI, we are longing for this, Vicky. We are longing for real connections. I wish I could reach through and just pinch you and go, "Are you real?" I want real. I want authentic. Be authentic in the pages of your book, on your podcast, and in your meetings, and you're going to see a distinct change in how everything functions for your business.
I so agree with that.
Mm,
Physicians tune into authenticity.
they do.
I mean, everyone does, but they're particularly skilled at doing this. Would it be okay if I just shared a story?
Oh, I would love to hear a story. Yes.
All right. So I talk with my coaching clients about the importance of story and authenticity. And I remember Mike said, I just don't have any stories. I'm
Mm.
sorry. Um, and I said, well, what's your earliest memory about money? He said, oh, I remember this well. I grew up with my dad, and we were just on the edge financially, and we were at the store. And on the counter, there were one of those twirling displays with a sheriff set on it. And I wanted that sheriff set. And the dad said, well, you're going to have to buy that with your own money because I can't afford it. So they go home. Mike goes off to his room, pulls out a piece of green construction paper and his crayons and drew a dollar bill. And he said, okay, Dad, here we go. So his dad got back in the car, took Mike back to the store, and the shop owner was willing to exchange the sheriff kit for this counterfeit dollar. Now,
Wow.
that is so engaging. Who wouldn't want to hear that story, right?
That's right. Absolutely. And it's memorable. And in his marketing, what if he took a dollar bill like that and grown and used that in his marketing, right? Because people will connect with that because I assure you, Vicky, everybody has a sheriff story like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm more interested in learning more about that story than I am about how he helps me with finances. I trust you to be good at finances, but I want to know, can I trust you? And that's where that story comes in. I love that story. Well done extracting that out of him with a great question.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Michael, if people want to take the next step with you, what can they do?
Great question. Go to paperbackexpert.com. Okay, that's our website. That's really the hub of all things Michael. Paperbackexpert.com. And when you get there, you're going to get a lot of information. We've got some free trainings you can take. You can schedule a call with me. You can also download, Vicki. We've got this book we created, this mini book. It's like 12 pages long. It's a PDF. It's called The Profitable Book Formula. Because as a business owner, it's not about just publishing a book. It's about publishing a profitable book. And so that's why we wrote this 12-page PDF that's free to you. Just go, it says get the guide, click the button, give me your name and email, and you've got it. And you're going to understand how you should think as you approach creating a profitable book. I think that's one of the best things. But you're on my website. You can find me everywhere, but that's the best place, paperbackexpert.com.
Okay, and I will leave a link below so it's easier for our listeners to get in touch with you. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. You've got an amazing business model.
Absolutely.
Books work, and you've got a way of taking information out of a financial advisor's head and putting it on paper. So thank you so much for the work that you do.
Oh, Vicky, you're so welcome. It is a joy. I've been blessed. I'm one of the few people in the world, probably with you, that I actually love what I do, and it fires me up every day. So I'm no longer in prison. Woohoo! I'm a free man doing what I love to do. But thanks for the opportunity to spend some time with you, to share with your audience, and hopefully we've brought some value to them today.
All right, thanks again.